My name is John McKeon, and I'm the moderator for the Teradata Aprimo River community, Teradata and Aprimo's largest customer community. You can connect with us at teradataRiver2.com. Today we have Greg Lowe, Senior Data Integration Architect for Belk, which is the largest privately owned mainstream department store with 300 department stores in the south of the U.S. Greg, welcome to the River.
Thank you for having me.
Greg will be doing a really interesting talk at Partners Conference this year on the subject of using temporal to manage facts and dimensions of Belk. Greg, this is a very interesting and complex subject. A lot of retailers are struggling with looking at the different measures and really measuring and managing the changes in the data. What is your biggest challenge relative to trying to apply temporal to your data?
Basically, there are two areas of concern when applying temporal. One is how do you manage slow-changing dimensions over time, reporting for both as is and as was so that you can see what your hierarchies were at any given point in time. And then what we call effective data measures, where you have information that changes at different rates, and how do you report those at different specific points in time related to other measures such as inventory and pricing that obviously change at different rates. But how do you manage that without creating large objects that have entries for every day in the calendar that you really don't have any activity? Those are probably the two biggest challenges, and we're using temporal and Teradata to help solve some of those challenges.
So, Greg, what about applying that to issues of inventory and pricing? What are the dynamics that really give you the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenges are actually the facts that the activities happen at different rates. Inventory changes as you sell things and buy things, where pricing may change as you react to the items that you're selling and buying. So how do you construct objects so that you can present on a specific day what something was priced and how much of it you had, without creating a gargantuan object that actually has entries for every day, for every item, for every store, even if the price and the inventory levels are the same as the previous day? Using temporal helps us drastically reduce the size of the object we have to maintain and gives us the ability to go back in points in time and give a vertical view of what that particular subject area's pricing and inventory and other various related facts were on that specific day.
Well, Greg, in doing this, how do you actually create a consistent view when you're looking at the semantic layers and the object layers?
We take advantage of the valid time clauses in temporal provided by Teradata. Our presentation is affectionately called Controlling Time. So with the valid time clauses that are in the new temporal syntax, we're able to present through the semantic layer a specific point in time of how each of the different objects look. So for example, on slow-changing dimensions, we can say, this is what our hierarchy looks like as of this date, and the user sees a unified view of that hierarchy without having to understand the dating concepts involved. On the effective data measure side, we can present both a point-in-time specific view of a particular effective data measure, such as, is this item on our replenishment inventory system now, or at any point in time in the history, was it on replenishment? So with a single object, you can present both views of that data to the user through the semantic layer without the user having to understand the complexities underneath the object.
Great. How does this affect your ETL structures in terms of really driving efficiency in the update process?
It simplifies the ETL process by eliminating the actual number of physical objects we maintain to maintain the base layer of information in our data warehouse. Obviously, there are challenges and opportunities with any implementation in ETL. However, for the lowest level of detail, we felt like this was the most efficient way to store the data. On the reporting side, we obviously have some opportunities for performance improvement, and we use the temporal data as the starting point for creating those objects to provide a higher performance object for the user to query to do reporting.
So how does a temporal really evolve your data modeling strategies relative to the new period data types?
That's a very interesting question because we're still in the early stages of temporal, and most of the major data modeling tools don't really understand the period data type yet. So what we have done is we've taken an approach where we architect our tables as if they were not really temporal, and then we have the temporal objects the temporal data types appended to the definition as we implement it. We actually, in the ETL environment, actually mask the complexities of maintaining the temporal object behind a stored procedure. So from the ETL perspective, he doesn't necessarily know that he's maintaining a temporal object. The procedure manages that for him.
Greg Lowe, Senior Data Integration Architect at Belk. He's presenting at Partners Conference. If you're into temporal, this will be a great talk to attend. Greg, we look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks. Look forward to being there.